It's time for Coffee with the Chicken Ladies, a podcast for people who love chickens.
Hey everybody, and welcome. It's Chrissie&Holly from Coffee with the Chicken Ladies. We're here, and this is episode number 195 of our podcast, where we talk about everything chicken, family, fun, and
more chickens.
More chickens. We drink a ton of coffee. I'm talking a ton, but most importantly,
we hug chickens every day.
And we kiss them too, don't forget. We brew coffee from a little coffee roaster in Houston, Texas. Bright and early coffee. Holly, what kind of coffee are we brewing today?
Today is the delicious pecan coffee.
Yes, and it is so good. If you are not trying out bright and early coffee, you're missing out. Use our code CWTCL15 for 15% off a bagged coffee. Where should they get this?
brightandearlycoffee.com.
Or on Amazon, get the K-Cups. Follow them on social media. Are you ready to sip some of this delicious pecan coffee and chat?
I am. But first, a word from our sponsor.
We have some exciting news to share from our sponsor, Grubbly Farms. They're here, new and improved, Grubbly's World Harvest.
I'm a longtime subscriber, and my flock love the healthy, nutritious treats, plus orders $40 and more ship free.
If you haven't heard, Grubbly's has a fantastic layer pellet and crumble feed. It's packed with plant and insect protein, perfect for those picky chickens and ducks.
Grubbly Farms makes food and treats for healthy pets and planet.
To support us and Grubbly Farms, use the link grubbly.co/coffee. Try it today. Okay, so I see, is this a sweater you made?
Oh, yeah. I'm wearing the sweater that I knit on the plane.
I was going to say, were you knitting that on the plane to Iowa?
Yeah.
Wow, that's come a long way.
Yes, I can wear it. It's finished.
I was like, wow, you did a really good job.
Thank you.
I wanted to say something earlier, and then I was like, nah, wait till we're on the mic, and then I'll say something.
It's just a tank top.
It was a sweater.
Well, it's a knitted tank top.
It's knitted. You did a very good job.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you even have like the little sides indent on the sides.
That's an uneven hem.
Well, I don't know.
On purpose. It's supposed to be.
Yeah, exactly. Looks good. So you've been knitting a lot.
I've been knitting a lot more, yeah.
Yeah.
I've actually started blogging again on my Baltimore Wool Company blog.
Yeah.
That's where all the fiber art stuff goes because Chrissy rules me with an iron fist and will not allow me to talk about sheep on this show.
We're chickens, man. We're chickens.
I'm lucky I get the ducks and geese in there.
So everybody knows the boy crowed. I don't know if I've said that he's crowed, but he's definitely a boy.
Well, have you picked a name? Because everyone's been giving these fantastic ideas.
I know all the fantastic ideas. We think we're going to use Einstein, but I basically call him Little Man.
Yes.
So it's kind of what I'm just going to call him Little Man, and his formal name will be Einstein.
He's Einstein, right?
Yeah, but
I'm calling him Bert.
The pictures do not give the crest justice.
It is ridiculous.
When you saw him when you pulled up today, you were like, oh my God.
I pulled up and the first thing I saw was this gigantic explosion of feathers from his head. That and the fact that he was lying in your arms like a baby with his blue legs stretched straight out.
That's how we walk around here.
Yeah, that's great. You know, if I tried to do that to Giorgio Armani, the leghorn, he would have a heart attack.
Would not be good.
No.
I always say, draw me like your French girls.
Oh my God.
That's how he lays. He just
does.
lays with his legs straight out and he looks up at me. I'm like, can we please stay like this? Everyone knows that I don't really normally do roosters, so let's hope he's a good boy.
You'll have the friendliest, easiest rooster ever.
Let's just hope.
Meanwhile, I have Mr. Wild Thing.
AKA his new name, Wild Thing.
Well, he is. I can't even tell you how beautiful he is. I mean, Leghorn roosters are gorgeous, but the silver Leghorn rooster, wow. But he's very anxious. He has also matured early.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's been crowing since like month 1.
Yeah. And the girls are not ready for this.
No.
So, yeah.
They're like, calm it down, man.
They really are. But he's beautiful. He's a beauty.
Yeah. So that's been fun. And the weather's kind of broke. So that's kind of great.
How's your integration coming?
It hasn't started yet.
Oh. Okay.
So, yeah, they might be going in on their own. I'm not sure. They might have their own situation.
Yeah.
So they might be going in on their own.
Why not?
I don't think it's a question. I'm still questioning whether or not they're going in with somebody or on their own. So
whether they get their own coop and run.
Right. And their own little unit, which would work a lot easier.
I mean, in some ways, it's so much easier to just put them out there in their own space.
It is.
I know
but then it's another run that you have to feed and water, like.
Oh, girl, I'm way past that.
I know. Oh, yeah, you are.
Oh, I'm way past that.
Oh, man. And on that note, if you're listening to our show and you're loving it, head on over to Apple Podcast and leave us a written review. Thank you so much for everyone who has taken the time to type a review out for us. We appreciate it so much. It helps us grow. The other way is to hit that subscribe button because they count them and it helps our show grow immensely.
If you're looking for other ways to help support the podcast, you can tell a few chicken-loving friends about the show. You can share your favorite episodes on social media. You can check out our Etsy shop, t-shirts, tank tops, logo mugs. You can become a patron of the show, patreon.com/coffeewiththechickenladies. Gigantic thank you to our patrons. We love you.
Yes, we do.
And the other thing you can do to help support the show is visit our website and our show notes, use our affiliate links and discount codes, and buy products from our sponsors.
Yay!
If you're looking for a chicken coop that's produced in a planet-friendly, sustainable way, try Nestera.
Each coop is made from highly durable, 100% recycled plastic that keeps the equivalent of up to 2,000 shampoo bottles out of a landfill.
Their clean, modern design will fit into any garden or run area and comes with an industry-beating 25-year warranty and a range of handy accessories.
Simple to put together, so quick and easy to clean, and most importantly, red mite resistant. Your chickens will love it.
Quick shipping from Nestera US.
For a 5% discount, use the affiliate link in our show notes, on our website, and on Instagram. Link in bio. Check them out today.
Hey, Chris.
Yeah.
Do you like subscription boxes?
Does it have anything to do with chickens?
Of course.
Then yeah. Let me take a minute to tell you about the Chicken Love Box. If you love goodies for your chickens and you need to go to chickenlove.com.
I love the mega box. Tons of useful products for my flock and a chicken tea for me.
You can't go wrong with a chicken tea. They are so cute and so soft.
In the April box, I absolutely love the chick leg bands and the organic soap set with hen decoration.
I am loving the Chicken Spirit long sleeve tee, and those chick vitamins, they could save a chick for sure.
Boxes start at $39 a month. They ship immediately after your order, and shipping is always free.
Such a great deal. Don't wait. Get off the nest and click already. Use the code CWTCL50 for 50% off your first box of a 3-month subscription or more. That's chickenlove.com. That's chickenluv.com. Get your subscription today.
The Breed Spotlight is brought to you by Murray McMurray Hatchery, defining quality for generations. For over a century, Murray McMurray Hatchery has remained a trusted family-owned business, working tirelessly to ensure our poultry meet the highest standards.
Whether you are an experienced enthusiast or just embarking on the journey, look to McMurray Hatchery for guaranteed quality, rare and heritage breeds, low minimums, and all the supplies you need to raise your flock. Request a free catalog today. Going to IKEA, gonna get myself a duck. I'm going to IKEA, I'm gonna get myself a duck. It's time for the Breed Spotlight, yeah.
Yeah, quack, quack.
This week's Breed Spotlight is...
If you haven't figured it out, it is the Swedish Duck. The Swedish Duck, which I think is a gorgeous duck.
I should say I'm going to IKEA. That's how my dad says it.
I know, when we were kids, because, sorry, if you're a longtime listener, you've heard us babble about this before, but we were one of the first IKEAs on the East Coast.
Yes, it's awesome.
They were not very far from where we grew up, and Chrissy's dad always called it IKEA.
He did.
And so to this day, me, my sisters, your family, we all say, I got to go to IKEA.
I got to go to IKEA, hon.
My husband was the first time was like, we're going, what? Where?
IKEA.
IKEA. So we're big fans of IKEA.
Yes, we are. Okay, so this week's Breed Spotlight, again, is the Swedish Duck.
Yes.
You haven't guessed. It's a really pretty duck.
It is a really pretty duck. The beautiful Swedish duck is a very useful bird that is almost 200 years old. Now, duck breeds tend to be even younger than chicken breeds.
They are.
By and large. I mean, there are a few very old ones, but despite the name, these ducks do not come from Sweden.
What?
They were actually developed in the 1830s in the region of Pomerania, an area that is also well known for the Pomeranian dog and the not quite as famous Pomeranian goose.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, some of this naming confusion comes about from the shifting boundaries of Sweden, Germany, and Poland.
They're all right there.
During the 19th and 20th centuries.
Right.
Pomerania belonged to Sweden and Germany at various points in time. So, long story short, these ducks were developed in the part of Pomerania that ran across the northern coast of Germany and into Poland.
Oh, wow.
And at that point, it was under Swedish rule. The Swedish duck is a heritage breed, and it is currently found on the watch category of the Livestock Conservancy's conservation priority list.
Okay.
We gotta watch this duck.
They were occupied by Sweden at the time,
Yes.
so they got the Swede name.
Yes, but apparently they're German ducks. Or really, Pomeranian, because it is it's its own region.
I just think of the dog when I think of Pomeranian.
I think of the goose.
I don't know why. Well, yeah, I think of the Pomeranian. Joe's dad, when he was alive, and his wife had like 10 Pomeranians.
Are you serious?
No lie.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. Little puffballs everywhere.
Everywhere. So we would go to the beach and visit them, and there were like 10 dogs running around, all with diapers on.
They were before their time.
They were.
One of the really interesting things about this breed is their color genetics, the Swedish duck. Just like Andalusians and Jersey Giant chickens, the same white, black, blue genetics occur with the Swedish ducks.
Okay.
If you breed two blues together, you get 50% blue, 25% black, and 25% silver and or white splash.
Right.
Also, like the Andalusian chickens, the blue Swedish is the only color that is APA accepted.
Okay.
Swedish ducks were imported into the U.S. in 1884. From the beginning, they were popular as both farm ducks and show ducks.
Well, they're beautiful. I can see that.
They really are. The blue Swedish was accepted into the American Poultry Association Standard of Perfection in the medium duck class in 1904. Now, in 1905, poultry historian Harrison Weir wrote that the commonly held belief as to the foundation breeds of the Swedish are French Rouen crossed with common German farm ducks. Then the offspring was crossed with the wild blue teal drake.
Wow. He really did some investigating into that.
Well, apparently that's what everyone said. I mean, that was the sort of commonly held belief. Again, is it true? We don't know.
Right. I mean, we can only go by what these people write.
Unless someone does extensive genetic testing. I will say, number one, common German farm ducks, that can be all kinds of stuff.
That could be a hodgepodge of everything.
Right. The blue teal drake is not as crazy as it sounds because I recently did some history on the Australian spotted bantam duck.
Right.
They also have a wild duck progenitor.
Okay.
So it's a thing. It can happen.
Nice.
I didn't get into it on this breed spotlight, but if you have access to Harrison Weir's writings from 1904, he does this whole hilarious piece about how everyone figured out that the Swedish duck was great, and suddenly the Dutch wanted to say it was a Dutch duck.
Oh, everybody wants to claim it afterwards.
Exactly. I thought it was really funny.
So, but regardless of these foundation breeds, these are beautiful ducks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, both the blue and the black are almost solid color with a prominent white bib that runs down their neck to their chest.
It's very pretty. These were the first ducks I ever wanted.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So are you going to get them?
I think I'm going to start with bantams.
I was going to say, do you see them in your future?
I could, but I'm serious when I say I want only a few bantam ducks at first.
Yeah. Now, the bib on the drakes is bigger than the bib on the females, of course, because, you know, the boys get all the really good feathering.
Sometimes.
That's the way it always is. Now, depending on their age, the drakes weigh in at 6.5 to 8 pounds. That's big. For a duck.
But they're the medium class, so they're not as hefty as like a pekin.
Well, the females are running 5.5 to 7 pounds. This is a bigger duck than we're used to.
Well, I mean, they were used as a dual-purpose farm duck.
Now, they have black bills and dark orange legs and feet. And the blue feathers are definitely a gray blue or a slate blue kind of shade.
I think these ducks, and I love both the blue and the black, I think these ducks are stunning.
Yeah, now they're decent layers, okay? And they're going to give you about 150 large white or blue-green eggs a year. Now, you won't know until they lay them.
Exactly right. Yeah.
It's always like the grab bag. What are you going to get?
That's kind of fun, though. It's kind of like Easter eggers.
It's kind of like, okay, what color eggs are we going to get?
First egg is always super exciting.
Yeah, like, what color is it? Though they're not the best layers, it's still a good choice for a small farm.
Yeah, or a backyard flock. They can be used as dual-purpose birds if you want to go that way. But they also have a lot of other possible occupations.
Yeah. I mean, gardeners, everything.
Right. They are very hardy, healthy ducks, and they are apparently, and I saw this in numerous places, emphasize this, very active foragers.
Yeah.
So these are ducks you're going to have to supervise free range with.
Right. I mean, they like to eat snails.
They do.
Slugs, beetles, grass, weeds.
They will help you in the garden. They will eat all the things that you just said, plus they'll leave valuable fertilizer behind.
And they have some great personalities. They're calm. They're nice.
Right. I think that makes them great show ducks, and it also makes them great additions to a fancy backyard flock or Good pets and companions.
Exactly.
So this is really a duck with a lot to offer.
It is. It's a bigger duck. So you have to make provisions for a bigger duck.
Right.
So just make sure your duck house and your area where they're going to be is of a good size and that you're able to do some supervised gardening and free ranging with them. They're going to love it.
Swimming for them, you're going to have something a little bigger for them to swim in. It doesn't have to be huge, but they're a bigger duck.
Yeah, they need water.
Right.
They're ducks.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so all important question. Here we go. Where do we get them?
Well, thank goodness they're not that difficult to find. McMurray Hatchery and Metzer Farms both sell Swedish blue and Swedish black ducklings.
Nice.
If you're interested in showing the Swedish, you can join the APA and find breeders there as well. I do love this duck. The black Swedish is the first duck that I wanted.
They're really pretty.
They're beautiful.
They're not the magpie, but they're very pretty.
No similarities, black and white.
Yeah.
But the magpie, nothing is like as flashy as the magpie.
I know. Okay, so if you have the Swedish duck and you'd like to share a picture with us, go to your Instagram stories, put it up, and hit the mention button, and then put our name in, and we'll get the story, and we can reshare them. We would love to give you a share.
Are you ready to dive into the fascinating world of backyard ducks? Look no further than Metzer Farms, your premier destination for top quality waterfowl. Whether you're a seasoned breeder or just starting out, Metzer Farms has everything you need to elevate your flock to the next level. And if you're passionate about call ducks, you're in for a treat.
Metzer Farms hatches a stunning variety of call ducks, meticulously bred for their miniature size, beauty, and calm temperament. From snowy whites to vibrant colors, each duck is a masterpiece waiting to grace your backyard. Visit MetzerFarms.com today to browse their extensive selection and start your journey into the wonderful world of waterfowl. Metzer Farms, where passion meets perfection. Roosty's proudly sponsors Coffee with the Chicken Ladies. They're back with an innovative new product. You're going to want to check this out.
It's an extra large set, a 14-pound feeder and 3-gallon water with steep anti-roost lids. They're made of super durable material. You can either stand them on legs or hang them on brackets on your coop or fence. They're easy to remove and clean too. Plus, they look awesome.
We personally use Roosties and we're huge fans. So if you're raising chicks or keeping chickens, check out the Roosty store on Amazon or follow the link in our show notes. Okay, so let's move on to main topic. Yeah.
This week, we are thrilled to welcome Kristine Ellis back to the show. If you don't follow Kristine, go find her. The account is Dunkin Ducks. You can find her on TikTok, on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And not only is she filled with good duck information online, Kristine just recently published her first book, and it's fantastic.
Are there people out there that aren't following Kristine?
I don't know, but let's clue them in. The book is Raising Ducks for Beginners and Beyond. It is fantastic. It is everything you need to know to get yourself started with waterfowl. Kristine, welcome back.
Hi, thanks for having me on again.
Of course. Welcome. Welcome back to the table.
So before we get started with our main topic, we just want to check in with you, see if anything's new, see how all the ducks are doing.
Ducks are doing wonderful. We're putting the finishing touches on our new duck pen, so I'm excited to announce that soon.
Ooh,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So today we want to take on kind of a serious topic because we've had some requests for this topic.
We have had so many requests for this topic over the years, and we keep putting it off because it's a tough one.
It's tough. It's sad. It's all those things. And we want to talk about navigating grief and when you lose a flock mate, because this is a real part of keeping poultry, and it can be raw and it can be bad, but let's chat a little bit about it.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough. We all have recent losses. And, I guess if you go and talk to a psychiatrist, they're going to tell you that there are these stages to grief. And you have to give yourself some space and some support to navigate through those things. So we can talk a little bit about the coping skills that we, the three of us, because if you're going to have a lot of poultry, eventually you're going to lose a lot of poultry. It doesn't all have to happen, but it does happen. Yeah. So, Kristine, you're our guest. We'll go first with you. What are some of the things that you find the most helpful for navigating loss?
So whenever I lose a flock member, there's a few things that I try to do to just comfort myself and remember them for as long as I shall live. If I have their body, I will collect a couple feathers from them. I will take their foot, step it into some paint and put it on a canvas. And then one thing that I really like to do is have a portrait commissioned of them. So they're like really tiny, like 3x3 inch portraits of my ducks. And I keep them in a china cabinet. It's not really a china cabinet. It's just a duck cabinet with a bunch of different duck things. And it's nice because it's like I can still, they're all together with their little portraits and their feathers up there. And
it's like a collection of Victorian miniatures almost.
Yeah, pretty much.
I love that. I love that.
Now, we all kind of grieved with you when you lost Munchkin a few months ago and could feel your pain. And I watched you in the video and I cried with you. It's so hard. And we want to let everybody know that it's okay to be upset. It's okay to cry. It's okay. They're not just chickens, ducks, geese, turkeys. They're members of your family.
Here's a little secret. I'm not joking. I think I cry every time somebody loses an animal and talks about it on social media.
Me too. I'm about to cry already.
I know, so am I.
I'm like, I'm thinking about it already.
It's tough, but maybe that'll be comforting to someone, to know that they're putting their loss out there and we're probably crying along with them.
I think it's important for people to know that they're not alone, especially when it comes to losing poultry, because a lot of people don't see them the way we as their owners see them. And it's like, to us, those are our family members. They're no different than a dog or a cat to us. And it hurts when we lose them. It's no different to us.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people maybe don't have that community where they see other people also going through that when they lose a flock member. And they probably feel, alone in that. But I can assure anyone out there that they're not alone in feeling this grief and sadness when you lose a flock member, because it happens to everybody who raises them, unfortunately.
And you could do everything humanly possible, medically possible, everything, and it's still not work. Just as in with us, with people, that can happen with us too. Sometimes that bond that you make with them while you're treating them even gets stronger. And then when something happens at that point, if, it's bad or, sometimes sudden loss, and it's really a tough thing, but giving yourself the okay that you're okay. It's okay to be sad and upset. Right. And I think we were talking about community, and I think social media lends a really good community for getting some support that way.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, if you're lucky enough to have a family who's supportive, my family are all animal people, especially my husband. So he grieves the losses right along with me. And I do know that we have followers, who will come to us just when they have a sick chicken and say, look, my hen is sick and I'm really upset and no one understands. Can I just talk to you about it? Of course. We are here to be community for people. So you can always reach out to us if you're upset or you're grieving. And don't be afraid to reach out to your friends who are like-minded. And you know what? It doesn't matter if your friend is in England and you're in New York. It's still a friend. It's still caring. It's still love. So don't be afraid to reach out for support. Don't look for support from someone who's not going to give it to you, because that can hurt even worse.
Well, it's called going to a dry well. Don't do that. Don't go to the dry well, because, and someone, this is where community is so important in this. Somebody of like mind who will have the understanding of how hard it is to lose one of your flock mates. For me, it was Gertie. And it's been part of my matriarchs, my first flock that I had, the first 4 that I had, that they were incredibly hard to lose. And Gertie was one that, she had so many problems and overcame everything that when it took her, I couldn't even breathe. And just the thought of not having her around hurt so badly. I think I cried for 2 or 3 days straight. And they fill a void in our lives. They give us happiness, and it's just hard. That's why this topic is so hard, because we love them so much.
Oh yeah. And so we're probably.
I would also add that you might not even expect support from certain people, but you never really know who that person is going to be that tells you what you need to hear. I could not read those comments when Munchkin passed away. And there was so many, and I was so grateful for them, but I couldn't even look at them.
Yeah.
But I had people reach out to me who I never even talked to, in high school. And they were like, I know exactly what you're going through. And they talked to me and I talked to them. And it was so nice to get support where like I would never have expected it from. And don't be afraid to just put it out there to even your own just like personal Facebook friends and be like, hey, I'm going through this tough time, because you never really know who's going to be there for you. And so everyone's always going to say like, I'm so sorry for your loss. And it can be helpful, yes, but there's like, I think for every person, there's something that somebody can say that will help, but not everybody is going to say that thing. Like for me, Kimberly Link, she is the founder of Majestic Waterfowl Sanctuary in Connecticut. She had texted me, and this one sentence just like stuck out to me. She just said, "You made all the right decisions." And I was like, oh, hearing that from her meant so much, because like I look up to her, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think
really know.
You don't know. You're absolutely right about that. And I think validation's important.
To know that you did do everything the right way. I mean, if you try your hardest, and that's the thing that gets me is, and I have to tell myself that after being in the animal medical field for 15 years, I witnessed it every day I worked there, is that you can do every single one of the things that need to be done and it still doesn't work. That's called trying everything and letting yourself be okay and not still blaming yourself, even though you did everything, and saying there could have been more I could have done. It's hard. It's so hard.
I think that Chrissy, I think one of the things that's so difficult for you losing a bird is that you feel like you should, because you're a medical professional, you feel like you should have
been able to fix them.
Should have been able to fix it.
Yeah.
And I know that's really hard for you.
I have to tell myself that I've tried everything and I've tried all the things, and sometimes they don't work. And in my grief, that's one of my steps that I have to get over to then be able to get through. And then, knowing that every day they're part of your life, every single day. And being able to get past that, you're not going to see them.
This is, I think, part of the navigating the sadness, because nothing prepares you for going out there and opening that door and they're not there anymore.
Yeah, you're so right. That's so hard.
The other thing that I wanted to kind of talk about is the sadness that we're feeling as flock leaders, the flock members are also feeling. And that can even hurt even more, knowing that they're having trouble getting through it themselves. And some of the things, I mean, I have sat in there when they have lost somebody for hours the next day and that day, just trying to help navigate them when they don't really know what to do. It's so incredibly hard for them because they have a structure, and then being without and not knowing what's next.
Yeah, it can be really hard, especially if like two flock members are particularly bonded together, or if you lose your matriarch. I have seen ducks get very depressed over losing a flock mate. I had one duck, a mother and daughter duo. Oreo was the mom. She was blind. And so Raven, her daughter, acted as like her seeing eye duck. So the two of them were inseparable because Oreo couldn't see. So they were just unbreakable, always together. And when Oreo passed away of old age, Raven would not eat. She wouldn't leave the coop. Like she didn't know how to live without her mom.
Yeah.
And that was so hard to watch, because it's like you can do all of the things and sometimes they just need to grieve, because that's life and they're animals and they have emotions.
Some of the things that they do, and I had this with a gut-wrenching. I had my 4 original chickens were Buff Orpingtons, huge, beautiful Buff Orpingtons. And the last 2 lived to 9 and 10. And the 9-year-old, she was fine. And then one day just started looking a little off and took her to Dr. Rebecca and realized that she had reproductive tumors. And I could not put her down at that moment in time. I had to take her home and be able to give myself 2 days and let her say goodbye to her sister. That made it even more incredibly hard, knowing, there was 2 days. But I couldn't just take her and not have the closure for the other. And it was so hard because she would lay next to her. You know how they always say chickens, when the chicken's sick, they beat up on each other. This never happened. They surrounded her. They laid with her because she was the matriarch.
Although I will note that's extraordinary because a lot of times they do beat up.
They do, but they didn't.
Yeah,
they just laid. She laid, the two sisters, she laid next to her. And what was gut-wrenching was that for weeks, Bubbles, who was my other one, who lived another year, waited at the gate for her.
Oh, God, that's so hard.
When they wait at the gate.
It kills you.
And I had Lavender Orpingtons also do that, where they wait at the gate and they stare up towards the house and wait for them to come back. And giving them the support, it's just as important, you know?
I just lost Agatha Christie, who was one of my Jersey Giant hens, to reproductive cancer, but I think her sisters knew.
Yeah.
They weren't beating up on her because she was the matriarch, but they weren't surprised because I guess sometimes they sense things before we do.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
I think playing this by ear, sometimes it feels better to me to go sit with the flock and take comfort in everything. And other times it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
This one with Aggie, it's hard. So I've been sitting with the geese just because it is something different. You know, it's hard to be focused on this loss when I've got geese in my lap, you know, nibbling on my hair or whatever. But play that by ear. Sometimes when you have a loss, you want to be with that same flock with those birds and comfort each other.
I think the most important thing is reaching out to your community, whether it be on social media or an email to us or whoever. If you want to talk about it, people are there to support you and listen and not think that you're crazy for grieving poultry.
Kristine, have you found, just in my limited experience being on the duck and goose social media groups, I feel like a lot of the waterfowl people are more receptive to the idea of birds as pets than some of the chicken community. Have you found that?
Yeah, I would definitely say there's a mix of both because, you know, just like chickens, ducks can be strictly farm animals.
Right.
But I have found that I think, and especially in recent years, ducks really exploded as strictly pets and not necessarily farm animals. And they can be both. Like they are by definition farm animals, but like mine are more like pets than farm animals. Mm-hmm. One thing that I always try to do when I lose a flock member is, if at all possible, I will show the other flock members the body.
That's important.
Yep.
Every time I have done that, it does seem to have helped. Maybe the flock already knew they were going to pass away. Maybe they didn't. But like I had another two ducks, Munchkin's first two daughters, Duncan and Donut. Duncan had, I can't remember if it was liver or kidney failure, but we treated it. We thought she was better. And then like 2 months later, she just like went downhill and died in my arms in an instant. And I really expected Donut to not do well afterwards. But I showed her the body, and I think either she understood because she saw Duncan's body, or she understood because she knew she was sick. And it was like she didn't miss a beat the next day. Like she just went right back to being her normal self. And thankfully, I don't think she went through any grief periods where she like wouldn't eat or anything. So I would definitely recommend showing them if you can, because like when you can't, it's so hard.
Some of
with
them
Munchkin. I had Munchkin cremated. So, and I wasn't expecting her to die that day. So, you know.
Yeah.
I just didn't come home with her, and her mate like would call for her every day because he was so used to me like taking her in the car and going to Dunkin' Donuts and bringing her back. So every time I would like pull down the driveway, he would think I was bringing her back, and I wasn't. And I felt so bad because I wish I could like communicate to him that like she's not coming back. So that was hard to watch him.
Yeah, that's hard. Did you have to get him another companion, or did he take up with another duck in the flock?
So he has a lot of side chicks. Maple was not monogamous, to say the least. He was bonded to Munchkin. They had a whole wedding and everything, but he had other friends.
Okay, well, that's good. That's a good thing. Yeah, that's a good thing.
Yes.
I mean, it doesn't matter the animal. Large animals I've lost, it does give them some closure to see the body, if at all possible.
And for people who are listening who potentially don't have chickens, if you do have friends that do, just being there for them and knowing that chickens and ducks and poultry can be as you can have a bond as strong as with a person, a dog, a cat, anybody else. Just be there for your friends and your family when they're going through something and understand that it's some sadness that's going to come along with it. And just being there is enough, you know?
Yeah. I mean,
absolutely. I found that it's really hard when like a close friend loses a pet and you're like, how can I support them? Because sometimes it doesn't feel like your words are enough. Like I can say I'm sorry for your loss 100 times and I know it's not going to make it easier. Somebody, a very kind person, sent me a bracelet after Munchkin passed away, and it has a bead on it with a picture of her in it. So when you put it like right up to your eye, you can see her in there. And that really comforted me because I felt like I could still like take her places. And so when one of my close friends recently lost her like soul horse, and I sent her the same thing. And I think if you don't feel like your words are enough and you want to do something better, like something like a pet portrait or, you know, one of these bracelets is a really good idea to support your friends if that's the route you want to take.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
It's very special. It is. It's so, this is such a huge raw topic.
It is. And that's why we've put it off so long. But it is a reality. And, you know, like people, when they have, the more you have, the more chance there is for something to happen. And that's the other thing to keep reminding yourself, like 20 plus, 30 plus, 40 plus. There's more chance, there's more bodies out there for something to happen. So know that health problems happen. This is why we do the podcast, is to try to give you every tool imaginable to help save them. But sometimes all the tools out there aren't enough, and that's going to happen, and give yourself a break and know that. I'm just speaking from my own my own experience with this, is give your own self a break, because I don't. Because I'm like, okay, what could I have done? I could have done this. I could have done it. No, I did all the things.
You did all the things.
And that's just going to happen. Now, my matriarch, that was 10 who passed, she died of a heart attack digging a hole on her, and she was perfect the whole day. And I went back and went to give treats, and I found her. And that's still just as gut wrenching. But then I was full of, she was doing what she loved until her last final moment, and she lived 10 years. So giving them the best life you can is also a good way to get through it and say, well, they had the best life.
And it's no one's fault that the medical information just isn't there yet either.
Right.
Like you said on the first time I came on the podcast, you were like, this is how much we know about chickens, and this is how much there is to know about chickens. And especially when it comes to medical care for them, we just don't have the information and the studies and the research to back these things up.
It's true.
We do our best. Poultry.
Yeah.
All poultry.
We're in the dark ages for the poultry. We really are. I mean, that little story, we actually got this interview started 15 minutes late because I was chasing around one of my Andalusians who I have on antibiotics. And I thought, we're going to be late for this interview because of me. Maybe I should just let this ride. And then I thought, you know what? No. I won't feel right if anything happens to her and I skip this dose of antibiotics. So, and I was pretty sure you would understand that. But that just chalks it up to being back in the dark ages. Because we're treating something and we're hoping this helps. We're not even entirely sure what the original problem is because we just don't have the information or the diagnostic tools.
Right.
We do the best we can with the information that we have at the time. And that's all you can do.
That's it.
That's it.
That's all you can do. And knowing that as time goes on, the information, and hopefully with stuff like our show, pushing for more education for veterinarians and everything else, we can get that level of care to a superior spot where it is now for other domestic pets like dogs and cats and small animals.
Even horses. I mean, there's been tons of scientific work done lately on horses, like their muscle myopathy problems, things like that. I mean, it's just going to take time and I guess demand. The more the veterinary industry knows that we want and need these tools, the more research money may be funneled that way, but it's going to take time.
When Munchkin was sick, my vet even said to me, like, thank you for doing this. Thank you for caring enough to look into what this problem is, because you are helping me and my colleagues who I'm discussing this with every day learn more. And like, it was really hard because at the time we were wondering, like, if she does have, a tumor on her ovary or something, is that something we're going to want to operate on? And like, there's so few people who have operated on ducks successfully. That's a huge risk.
Yeah.
And I'm a little grateful I didn't have to make that choice, because that would have been really hard when it's like, if I do this, I'm advancing science and I'm helping this vet learn, but I could also lose her.
Right.
That's a really tough choice to make.
It is.
But
It's
as
hard.
the demand grows, you are helping vets learn by giving them the opportunity to solve these cases.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's the only way is us taking our poultry to the vets and letting them learn how to treat them,
Right.
and being not being their partner, because they're navigating it as much as everybody else is. So we have that awesome relationship with our vet, Dr. Rebecca. It's amazing. And
It was a text from her that made me feel better about losing Agatha Christie. Essentially, there's nothing else we could have done, and you kept her comfortable and you loved her. And
yeah,
I would say to all of our listeners, we're out there. There are people out there that understand how you feel. So don't feel like you're alone, and please reach out if you need to. And also, maybe you don't feel the same way about your poultry. This is a good time to not say something unkind.
don't say something.
Just
Stay quiet.
be kind. Just be nice.
Yeah, exactly. Don't say anything if that's the case. And, just give someone their space. But Kristine, we want to thank you for coming back on again. We love having you on as one of our resident duck experts. And
thank you for being willing to go through such an absolutely terrible topic with us.
I know. But, we look forward to having you on again. And we love chatting with you. We love you.
Well, thank you so much for having me on again. I know it's a rough one, but it was a necessary one. And I'm glad that we can get this out there for people to listen to.
Great.
Well, until next time, we'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.
We just want to thank the wonderful Kristine Ellis one more time for joining us to go through a really grueling topic.
It's a hard topic to talk about, and we've been having requests for years to talk about this, but it's one that we've put off because nobody likes to talk about grief and loss. Nobody.
No, it's very difficult to deal with.
Yeah.
You can follow Chrissy on various social media channels as Dunkin Ducks, and don't forget to check out her book, link in our show notes.
It's great. Thanks, Chris. Okay, let's move on to
Cracking the eggs.
cracking those eggs. Now, this one we were talking about, and it was one that your sister was telling you about.
Yeah, and it's easy and it's really, really good.
It's Japanese cabbage pancakes.
Right. So it uses 3 eggs and some thinly sliced cabbage. If you're in a hurry and you don't enjoy meditatively slicing a whole cabbage, you can buy a bag of pre-shredded angel hair cabbage or even pre-shredded coleslaw mix. But if you do that, you got to pick out the big pieces.
Yeah.
And you'll have lunch or dinner underway in no time.
Okay, so let's go through these ingredients. So 3.5 cups of thinly shredded cabbage. So that's why you got to pick out the bigger pieces in that coleslaw
The
mix.
angel hair is the ideal if you're going that way.
A cup of thinly sliced onion, a cup of panko, and that's Japanese style breadcrumbs, 3 eggs, and some olive oil. Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
And it's really good. You want a large mixing bowl. You're going to mix together the eggs and the panko, so it forms a batter. Mix the cabbage and the onions into that and stir it together until everything's well blended. You want to spray a large skillet with cooking spray or olive oil, whatever you want to use. I like the spray olive oil just because it's easier. Place that over low to medium heat. I would say more towards the medium heat.
Right.
You're going to add dollops of the batter, like 2 to 3 tablespoons, depending on how large you want the pancakes. Cook them until they're golden brown on both sides. You can serve these with steamed vegetables and your sauce of choice. I use some plum sauce.
Yeah.
But I know my sister made a different sauce that she loved.
Yeah.
So really,
it's a different dinner, a different way to use your eggs. It's easy. It's just like making pancakes in the morning.
Absolutely. These are so good. I mean, the flavor is surprisingly delicious.
Sounds great. Okay, try it. You might like it. If you do, send us a picture. We want to see them. Okay, so we're ready to move on to retail therapy. Retail therapy. Yeah. This week's retail therapy, we're going to switch it up a little bit because during our main topic, when we talked with Kristine, we're talking about things that you can get to help grief and feel better, to help your grief move on a little bit. And she was bringing up some very good points. So we kind of changed our retail therapy to, we're going to talk about the pet portraits and the pet bracelets that you can get, or you can get for a friend or a loved one that's going through a rough time, and where you can find them.
Right. So the first maker she mentioned is Art by Busby, and that's just a website you can go to.
Right.
The rest are on Etsy, however.
Right.
So My Rainbow Veins does commemorative portraits. Essentially, they'll do memorial portraits, any kind of portraits you want, but they're smaller portraits.
Right.
So they're under $100. They're a fantastic gift to yourself in memory of an animal you've lost, or an animal who's just special to you. They also would be very special to buy for a friend who has lost.
They would. And they also do ornaments. They do other things. So if you wanted a Christmas ornament to put on the tree every year, they would do that for you too.
Yeah.
And if you go on Etsy and you search, you put in pet, the first thing that comes up is pet portraits.
Pet portraits. That's a huge business right now.
So you can look those up, and those are always a great way to get something that's great to give to a friend or to yourself, so that you can remember your loved one.
Right. Exactly.
Now, she also talked about a bracelet that someone had given her that had a bead on it. Within the bead has a picture of Munchkin.
That is really interesting. So we looked that up, and it's very much a thing.
A big thing.
You can get these beads made with a tiny photo of your animal. Well, you can get it with people too.
Right. It was with people, with anything. And if you have a picture, and then that way you feel like you have, she was wearing it during the interview. She had it on her wrist, and she had Munchkin's little initial, the M, on the bracelet.
Oh, so
but
sweet.
There's lots of them. So if you go on Etsy, you just look up bracelet with tiny picture or bracelet with picture.
Just use some creative search words. You will find it without problem.
And there's bunches of them. And like, again, that's a really good gift for someone or for yourself.
You can also, if you want to spend more money, you can also commission things like needle felted portraits.
Yes.
I mean, you can, if you want to spend some big bucks, you can get fully commissioned oil portraits on Etsy.
The other person who was doing that was Lenora Dame. They take commissions.
Oh, that's right.
And
they did do some memorial pieces. Yeah.
They did some memorial pieces. So that's always a way to go if you have someone that's so special to you that you really want to memorialize.
Right.
So,
that's very comforting for some people.
I find it hard in the beginning. I can't even look at pictures in the beginning.
I have animals that I lost years ago that I burst into tears when I see photos. I
know. It's hard for me. It's
I mean, I wouldn't, if someone gave me a portrait, I wouldn't be sad.
No.
I would be like really thankful. It's a really special gift. But I don't know. It cuts so deeply.
It does. It does. Okay. So should we tell everybody what we're going to be talking about next week?
Next week, we're spotlighting one of my favorite breeds ever, my tiny, deliciously adorable Nankin Bantams.
The Nankins.
I love those babies. The fabulous Fiona is joining us. We're going to be talking about molting. It's our annual molting episode.
Because it happens, and it's real.
It's happening right now.
Oh, yeah.
Cracking the eggs. Blackberry jam cupcakes.
Oh, yeah, we need some of those.
That sounds good. And retail therapy, next week we're actually doing vintage chicken china.
We're going to do it next week. That's for sure.
We are.
Okay, so what should we tell everybody to do until next week?
Hug your chickens.
Every day, and kiss them too. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
If you'd like to see more of us, please follow us on Instagram at Coffee with the Chicken Ladies. If you'd like to help us grow the podcast, please leave us a written review on Apple Podcasts. If you'd like to become a patron of the show, please visit our Patreon page, patreon.com/Coffee with the Chicken Ladies. Thanks for listening.